It seems in every town in America that there's a secret fishing spot where the water runs clear and the bass are always biting. And at that spot, there's an unsung hero who knows every stump, laydown, and lily pad. Seems all he's got to do is wet a line. And sure enough, he's reeling in a big bass. So if you're looking for real people with real fish stories, then hop a ride. We're going to Lunkerville.
Hey everybody, Mike D here. Welcome to the program. Today, we're at the world's biggest fishing industry convention, ICAST. Everyone who is anyone in the fishing industry is here, and we're smack dab in the middle of the convention floor at South Bend's Lunkerville Lounge. This is where we interview folks and ask them to tell us their favorite fishing memory. And today, we have some big guns in the lounge, so get ready for fishing stories from legend Bill Dance.
That kick-started Bill Dance's career. I mean, that was the most remarkable thing that I had ever seen.
Legend Jimmy Houston is with us.
Bill Dance used to make jokes in fun of my hair.
Yeah.
He's not making many hair jokes anymore.
And legend Roland Martin is here to discuss the Senko.
And I said to Gary, I'm a professional fisherman. I've been asked to evaluate a lot of lures in my day, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you come out with this stupid looking lure, it's going to kill your company. It's the worst, ugliest, nastiest looking lure I've ever seen in my life.
The three legends are with me today on Late Night from ICAST. Lunkerville is presented by South Bend, a fishing tradition since 1906. Also sponsored by BassResource.com, the ultimate bass fishing resource guide. Mudville Catmaster, the only complete catfish tackle solution. Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. Today we're in the South Bend's Lunkerville Lounge at ICAST, the biggest and most important fishing industry convention in the world. And we're interviewing three of the biggest legends in bass fishing. Bill Dance, Jimmy Houston, and Roland Martin. Let's go to Lunkerville.
Look who it is. Bill Dance. Fishing legend, icon, great dude. Welcome, Bill, to the show.
Good to see you, buddy.
Now, we're doing a contest. The best fishing story wins the chance to be on Lunkerville.
Well, you know, I think everybody's got a fishing story, but I can tell you one that my fondest fishing story is the fishing story that kick-started my career when I caught my very first bass. I used to go to Middle Tennessee fishing with my grandfather. I learned more about fishing with my grandfather than anybody. My grandfather not only taught me the fundamentals of fishing and techniques, but he taught me a lot about the anatomy of fish, the importance of sight, how fish hear, how fish smell, and that helped me tremendously throughout my career. And I remember I had 75 cents in my pocket, and I walked in a little bitty town called Lynchburg, Tennessee. It's the home of Jack Daniel's distillery.
Oh yeah.
Well, I had that 75 cents, and I knew we were going fishing on Wednesday. And I went down to the hardware store that sold sporting goods, and I bought my first fishing lure. It was an Arbogast jitterbug.
Oh yeah.
And that plug is still made today, and a very popular bait. You don't go in many sporting goods stores that you don't find that particular bait.
That's a great lure.
Anyway, I took my jitterbug and my little metal rod and my little bait casting reel, and I walked down on a point about 50 yards through some bushes. And I was standing on the point, and I looked out, and I couldn't believe what I saw. I saw two bass swimming along together. But what impressed me, when the bait hit the water, both fish stopped. And I thought, Granddaddy was right. Those fish heard that bait hit the water. And they just stopped momentarily. And I took and not engaged the reel. Of course, we didn't have reels engaged at that time. But I turned the handle and started moving the bait. And the You remember the sound of a jitterbug, you know, and both fish turned. Well, I knew they heard the sound of that bait. It reinforced what Granddaddy had talked about. Fish can hear sound, and they were at least 20 feet away. They started moving in the direction of the bait, and I stopped the bait. Well, they stopped, and I started moving the bait again. Well, they moved within about 6 feet of the bait. I stopped the bait. They stopped. I started the bait. Well, this 2-pounder made a dash to the bait. Just about the time it got to the bait, I stopped it. He stopped. And I mean, it was the most impressive thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was about 7 years old, and to witness this, it was an experience. I mean, the biggest experience I'd ever seen. And I started reeling again, and the fish just made a hard turn and just exploded on the bait. Just a shower of water just came blowing out of the water. And I mean, my eyes wide open, my heart pounding. I mean, I couldn't even hear the gurgle of the bait because my heart was pounding so much. And I just reared back and set the hook. And I started reeling. And I reeled about 10 turns, and I couldn't stand it. I just took the rod, threw it over my head, and reached up and grabbed the line. And I just started well roping the fish. I mean, I just couldn't believe what I had seen. And finally, I just got the fish up on the bank and reached down and got the jitterbug and just worked the lure out and just left the bait and took off running through the brush, back to bushes, and I ran back to my granddaddy and I held the fish up. And thinking, you know, what have I done here? I tricked this living creature into biting this phony piece of plastic that had a metal lip and these 2 treble hooks hanging on it. I lured him out of his world into mine. And that kick-started Bill Dance's career. I mean, that was the most remarkable thing that I had ever seen. You know, 7 years old, and to see that and to capture that, it was just absolutely the most impressive thing that I've ever, and I have relived that moment. To look back, and other probably memorable things was to watch each one of my 4 children catch their first fish.
Yeah.
That had to be highly, highly memorable. And now to see 4 of my 7 grandchildren catch their first fish, that's remarkable. But that first fish, catching it on top water, seeing the strike, and witnessing every piece of that just absolutely special.
It's such a thrill to trick the fish
into
catching. And then you're speaking about, you know, your first fish and how important it is to get kids interested in fishing, because once they experience that thrill and they're outside and they go from the calm to the excitement, they never forget that for the rest of their lives.
If every kid,
look at Bill.
I mean, if every kid could experience what I went through, I mean, they never have a problem with that kid the rest of their life. And there's so many one-parent families, and they're wanting these parents. I hear parents all the time. They come up to me and they say, "How'd I do this? I don't know how to do this." And what you're doing, my hat's off to you. It really is.
Thanks
and
a lot,
I appreciate what you're doing, to be able to want to do this and to be able to try to spread the word and to help people do this. I think it's absolutely remarkable.
Well, I appreciate that.
Really
'Cause, you know, there's not many times in life where you get the opportunity to do something good and do something important. And this was kind of a fluke for me. You know, I didn't expect to be a fishing television show host 10 years ago. Now it's 10 years later, and I'm doing it, spreading this word with South Bend's Lunkerville and getting people into fishing. And some of my favorite fan mail is when somebody's like, I was flipping around the channel and I saw that show with the funny name. I was watching it, and I don't even fish, but I tell you, I was entertained. It made me want to fish. I go fishing now, and it's my favorite thing to do.
It makes you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
It really is.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Buddy, thank you so much. It's great being with you, buddy.
Good seeing you.
Like I say, my hat's off to you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
You're watching Lunkerville. We'll be right back after these messages. Is this suit too tight?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. Today we're in the South Bend's Lunkerville Lounge at ICAST, the biggest and most important fishing industry convention in the world. And we're interviewing three of the biggest legends in bass fishing. Bill Dance, Jimmy Houston, and Roland Martin. Let's go to Lunkerville.
Hey everybody, it's Mike D here. Look who's with us. Jimmy Houston, legend. They say he's one of the three legends.
Hey, you
Welcome,
doing,
man.
Mike?
Great to have you here.
The other two was going to be here, but they had to go pick their Social Security check.
We interviewed Bill Dance last year, and
He's a year older now. Think
he's
about
one year older.
He was old last year.
Man,
Bill Dance used to make jokes in front of my hair.
yeah.
He's not making many hair jokes anymore.
He has hair. I always see him with the hat.
Doesn't have much hair anymore.
I would never know.
He puts that T hat on. That's probably made his hair fall out.
Yeah.
If he had that Oklahoma University hat, his hair wouldn't have fallen out. It looked like this.
It's very impressive, Jimmy, your hair.
I'm looking for a Rogaine sponsor. So if you have any connections at Rogaine, Hank Parker's been using Rogaine for 20 years. They won't sponsor him. He's their best customer.
You should be doing stand-up in the Poconos, I think.
But I can remember back. The first boats that I ever saw in a lake. One of them was Roland Martin's, and the other one was Noah's. And Noah had a lot larger boat, but Roland could outrun him.
There we go.
And Noah's boat didn't smell real good either, I gotta admit.
Jimmy, I want to hear your fondest fishing memory. Like, could it be your first fish? Maybe when you were a kid? What is it?
You know, I don't know that you have a fondest fishing memory, but most of my greatest fishing memories evolve around my kids, like anybody else. If their greatest memories evolve around their kids, and probably the greatest one was back. You know, we've been doing that television show 38 years. It was back in the first 2 or 3 years of the show. My daughter was 12 or 13 years old, and we were spinnerbait fishing, and she was using the wrong color spinnerbait. I was catching them on a chartreuse and blue and white spinnerbait. She was fishing a white because she liked a white spinnerbait. Girls will pick lures by what's pretty to them. And that afternoon sometime we're fishing all day long to make a 30-minute television show. You know how it works. Mm-hmm. She finally caught this giant 7-pound plus bass. And it was a moment that, you know, still even thinking about it to this day, years and years and years later, pretty much brings tears to my eyes. What an incredible amount of joy she had, and mine was probably multiplied by that much more. And not only that, she caught it on the bait that she had a real belief in, white, as opposed to chartreuse and blue. And that probably, as I look back through all of those memories, that probably sticks out more than anything else. And most everyone, if you ask them that same question, which is a great question, would probably relate something back to their son or their daughter or their wife or their girlfriend. Or it'd be something that they experienced with someone else's joy in fishing, not their own. Not winning Angler of the Year titles, not winning bass tournaments, not doing that, but something they did that was that special moment with their children.
But why is fishing important?
Well, Mike, you know, all the sports are good, and I'm like everyone else. When I went through high school and college, I played everything you could play. You know, I lettered in several sports in high school and played it all the way since I could probably walk. And you have a lot of values and a lot of things you can gain and learn. You learn a lot. You learn how to win, you learn how to lose, you learn how to compete, you learn how to get better. But the outdoors, fishing and hunting, you learn a completely different and better set of moral and ethical values that you can't learn anywhere else. You can't learn on a football field. You can't learn on a basketball court. You can't learn on a baseball field or in the swimming pool. You're learning about life and death. You're learning the good things, the bad things, and your values will simply be better. The kids will grow up to be better adults. They'll be better parents, better grandmas and granddads, all the way through. They'll be better citizens. They'll be better employees. They'll be better everything. Those are things you can never outgrow. I don't know how good a shape you're in, but my bet is you can't run up and down. Yeah, suck it in. I bet you can't run up and down the basketball court too many times. I bet you can't run out there and throw a block on somebody, a linebacker coming at you. you outgrow those sports. You simply outgrow them. You never outgrow hunting and fishing. I carried a guy fishing a couple years back, 96 years old. 96 years old. We caught 49 bass that day. I got to speak at his funeral about 6 or 8 months later. But what a celebration when he probably caught his first fish at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. 96 years old, caught 49 bass with me. That's the value, that's the difference in hunting and fishing as opposed to everything else.
That is so well put. Jimmy Houston, the legend. Thanks for being on the show. You're an inspiration, and can't wait for the new season of the show. I think we should go fishing with Jimmy. Learn a little more. You want to go?
Let's go.
Come to Central Park. I fish in New York City. I invited Bill, too. We get Bill and Jimmy there, and Roland.
Fishing with Bill and Roland is like fishing with 2 old ladies, but you'll have fun. And that's no offense to old ladies. I love old ladies.
Additional support for Lunkerville provided by Fishing Paradise 3D. Play now for free on your iPhone, Android, and on Facebook. Hurricane Salt Tackle, a force to be reckoned with. Celsius, ice fishing gear for hard water anglers.
Hey everybody, Mike D here. We're in the Lunkerville Lounge at ICAST 2015. And this is where we hold a contest and give away a trip to Lunkerville. We ask folks here for their favorite, fondest, their funkiest fishing memory, fish story, and the best story, that person wins their own episode of the show. But the man I got here, he doesn't need his own episode of Lunkerville. It's Roland Martin, the third legend.
Mike.
How you doing,
son?
man?
I'm doing good.
Now, I called you the third legend. That's only because you're the third one that we've interviewed.
It's funny.
Are you first, second, or third?
In the deal, if you look at our business cards on the 3 legends, it's Bill Dance and Jimmy Houston and I. If you look at our business card, it'll say Bill Dance, #1 legend, Jimmy Houston, #1 legend, and Roland Martin, #1 legend. So
yes. Hey,
we all call ourselves the #1 legend. So that's
okay.
the way we do it.
Let's talk about the Senko for a bit.
Oh God, I can tell you so much
tell
about
me
it.
why that you think that lure is so successful. It's my favorite bait, the stick bait.
To tell you how successful it is, I've worked with Yamamoto for a number of years. They finally told me this year, please don't promote the Senko anymore. We just can't make any more of them. They have one machine. All it does for 24 hours a day, one giant big machine as big as this whole studio here, it's just going, and every 42 seconds,
with that sound.
like, I don't know what it does. All these Senkos fall out. And it makes one color in one size. It makes a 297 green pumpkin, 5-inch Senko. Every 42 seconds, 60 of them fall out. It runs 24 hours a day. It runs 7 days a week, all year long. The whole entire year it produces millions.
In the fish's mind, what is the fish thinking that if they see a Senko or they see a worm, why they go after that Senko so often? What is there? Can you theorize?
I can't figure it out.
Is it?
I told Gary when I started working with him 15 years ago, he had that new idea of a new lure, and he wanted to show it to me. And it was the Senko. He had a prototype of it.
Yeah.
And he had built it because he had an old ballpoint pen. He stuck it in the mold somehow, and he got this thing out.
So there
and it
is
looked
truth
awful.
to that. It was a ballpoint
And he said,
pen.
yeah, and that's what he came. That's how he did it with the ballpoint pen that he originally made the mold out of. And he handed me one, and I said to Gary, I'm a professional fisherman, and I've been asked to evaluate a lot of lures in my day, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you come out with this stupid looking lure, it's going to kill your company. It's just the worst, ugliest, nastiest looking lure I've ever seen in my life. I said, don't bring it on the market. The Cinco, it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
I don't know why they bite it. I really,
Okay, I have a theory, and just tell me if you think, just from watching it like in these tanks, when you see these tanks of bass and you see the crankbait, you see the worms, you see the Senkos, do the fish just think it's a big, easy meal that doesn't have any appendages, that it's going to be easy to swallow? You see a Senko and it's slowly, and they get a chance to look.
You're trying to match the hatch. And that whole concept of matching the hatch works in a lot of things. It works with a weedless frog. Yeah. It works with a jig looking like a crawfish. But a spinnerbait throws the match of the hatch out the window. And in a way, a Senko kind of throws the match in the hatch. It doesn't
what is it
look
supposed
like
to look
anything.
like?
It doesn't look like anything.
It does. I mean, they don't eat. I mean, a little snake. Are there that many little snakes?
No.
You see the way they react in a tank, and it's just weird how they just assault it. They just can't handle it. I don't know, but I love it.
Yeah, it's a many mystery thing. Yeah.
Well, Roland, thanks for taking the time. I know it's busy. You got a lot of appointments. I love your show. You're a legend. You're an inspiration, and
thanks
a lot, man.
Appreciate
for being on the
it.
show.
Thank you.
Take care.